Hello strangers, it's story time again. Today I'm telling you the somewhat ironic story of the downfall of Athens in ancient Greece. So before we begin, a quick update. We'll have a new stranger joining us shortly. I think we're announcing the results on the 30th, so a few days' time. It's a very tough decision process. We'll let you know the results soon. It's a very exciting time. Second thing I want to quickly say, I wrote this script before I heard about the new Assassin's Creed game, which is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, set in ancient Greece. Isn't it going to be a fantastic game? And another quick disclaimer before we start, I'm going to try and pronounce all Greek words correctly, but I'm going to fail at that, obviously. So please forgive me for that. So I'll try my hardest. Also, if you think that Athens are the good guys and Sparta are the bad guys, try to remove those thoughts from your mind. At the start of our story, Athens is a nobody in the ancient world, and Sparta are the warrior people of 300, more on that later on, but they're not completely evil. So one day, Darius I, king of Persia, decides to invade Greece for reasons I don't have time to get into right now. He chooses to attack a city called Marathon. Athens is the next door neighbour's Marathon, near enough, and they send their army to defence and realise they are vastly outnumbered, and should their own army be defeated, Athens would be defenceless against the Persians. So the Athenians do two things. First, they tell all the women and children in Athens, if they see the Persians approaching, they should all commit suicide to save themselves being raped and tortured. Secondly, they send a messenger called Philatides to Sparta, asking for aid in the upcoming battle. Sparta, however, claimed they were having a religious festival and couldn't assist. In one state, they're probably hoping Athens would be defeated, but whatever. Athens actually won the Battle of Marathon. They waited until the Persian army divided itself into two. As the cavalry sailed towards Athens, the Athenian army defeated the other half of the Persian army. Philatides was then sent to Athens ahead of the Persian cavalry to report the Athenian victory and save all the women and children. When the Persian cavalry eventually arrived, they were defeated by the Athenian army that followed them up the coast. According to the records, when the Spartans arrived at the battlefield of Marathon and saw the mounds of dead bodies, they realised they had to take Athens quite seriously as a threat. Fast forward to the second Persian invasion. King Xerxes I of Persia, son of King Darius, has launched his own invasion. In ancient Greece at this time there were around 200 cities and they had a choice. They could either assist the Persians or they could repel them. Only 31 of those 200 cities chose to repel, so already the odds were stacked against Athens. King Leonidas led 300 Spartans to Thermopylae, where they managed to delay the Persian army long enough for the Athenian navy to arrive and attack the Persian fleet. Quick side note, King Leonidas' army was more 3,000 men than 300, but you can see my thoughts on that in a link in the description below. I did a website post on it. It's really interesting how Athens won a naval battle. King Leonidas was defeated because he was betrayed, which gave the Athenians an idea. They sent a soldier claiming to be a traitor to the Persian forces, and he reported the Athenian navy was in complete disarray. The Persian commanders, confident of their victory, sent their ships forward and discovered that the Athenian navy was A, just fine, and B, waiting for them. So Athens is feeling pretty good about itself. It's defended the ancient world twice, and this is where its hubris comes in. Essentially, Athens said to the other Greek cities, hey, we need to be prepared for the third Persian invasion. We should all make a league so we can all defend ourselves. We can each put our ships and resources and troops into this big pot we can all dip into. Doesn't that sound great? And in theory, that does sound like a brilliant idea, until you realised each city had to pay an entrance tax to join this league, and cities that didn't want to join were either forced to or destroyed. Over time, the league grew and grew, taxes went up and up, and Athens decided to use most of this money to build a giant temple to house the money in. Can you see the flaw of this plan yet? Athens also made a secret deal with the Persians, ensuring there wouldn't be a third invasion, making the league itself redundant. Essentially, what Athens had just done was create an empire. Sparta wasn't part of the league, and Sparta didn't really care about Athens' evil empire, but they were upset when Athens, in its quest for power, started to ask Sparta's former enemies to join their league, in particular a place called Argos. Sparta felt very threatened and declared war. I want to talk about the Siege of Plataea really quickly, because it is one of the stupidest battles ever fought. Thebes, an ally of Athens and a city I want to talk about in my next video, sent 300 ninjas or spies into a place called Plataea. These ninjas were quickly captured and killed. Then the Thebans built a ramp out of mud and dirt to climb over the city walls like this almost, so that Plataeans built a hole in their own city wall and dug out the dirt from under the ramp, meaning it would never grow. How frustrating must that be? Now, eventually the Thebans did scale the city wall, only discovered in the time it took for them to achieve this, the city of Plataea had built a second defensive wall, bigger and thicker and stronger than the first. Fast forwarding a little bit more, Sparta realised the key to winning the war was to destroy the Athenian navy, which they managed to do. This caused Athens to forcibly sign a peace treaty with Sparta that was meant to last 50 years. Guess how long it lasted for? 3. And do you want to know why? Athens tried to ally itself with Argos again, and Sparta felt threatened again and declared war again. Now eventually, even Persia began to feel threatened by Athens, and they supplied Sparta with enough resources, troops and ships to end the war. All of this could have been avoided if Athens hadn't become greedy and tried to take over the world. I think this proves, strangers, although history can be complex and confusing, sometimes it can be hilarious and stupid. I'll see you all next week.